Now, tensions in the subcontinent have spilled over to the Desi congregation in New York as well, with Pakistan considerably ramping up the temperatures. Pakistan has provoked India yet again, not on one but three fronts. It started last night when Sartaj Aziz blamed India for cancellation of Foreign Secretary level talks. Now, Islamabad has all but confirmed that Prime Minister Nawaz Sharif will be raising this Kashmir issue in the United Nations General Assembly speech that is to happen in a few hours from now. But not only this, Pakistan has test-fired the short-range HATF-9 missile capable of hitting the border towns in India. Pakistan has formally said that Prime Minister Nawaz Sharif will raise the Kashmir issue in his address to the UN General Assembly, and Foreign Secretary has said that there is no reason for Nawaz Sharif not to raise the Kashmir issue during his address. Chaudhry, who is accompanying Sharif, said Pakistan believes that a plebiscite is still a solution to Kashmir, adding that the onus for resumption of any kind of talks is with India, saying Pakistan would consider if India took the initiative for talks. Nawaz Sharif has already discussed the issue with United Nations Secretary General Ban Ki-moon and asked him to take steps for its peaceful settlement in accordance with the relevant UN Security Council resolutions. All right, Javed Ansari joining me live from the newsroom right now for a perspective on these developments. Javed, the three-front provocation by Pakistan just a few hours from now, in all likelihood, Nawaz Sharif to take up the Kashmir issue at the UN General Assembly. How are you reading these developments? All right, we'll try and connect with Javed in just a few moments. Hamza Amir now joining me from Islamabad. Let's take a perspective from him. Hamza, how is, this statement, this development being looked at in Pakistan, Pakistan provoking India, and then Sushma Swaraj's very strong statement hitting back at Sartaj Aziz?
Well, in Pakistan, even before Nawaz Sharif actually left for New York, they made it very clear that the secretary-level talks that were actually were cancelled by the Indian side, and it has to be India now to actually decide when they want to start talking again. Because they were able to actually meet on the sidelines in New York, Sartaj Aziz and the Indian counterpart, I think they've renewed the same, ambition to actually start off the talks again. Kashmir issue has been Pakistan's major concern, and that is going to be addressed for sure, because in Pakistan and also in Kashmir, Pakistan's governed area of Kashmir, there have been protests, there have been calls for using the UN Charter to actually, have the right of self-determination to be given to the Kashmiri people. This is something that is Nawaz Sharif's agenda is going to be in his speech as well, and because he's going to be speaking the day before Narendra Modi. So we will have to wait and see how Narendra Modi responds to what...
Absolutely, all eyes on that. Hamza, do stay with me. Let me go across to Javed now. He is connected with us. Javed, how are you looking at this three-pronged attack from Pakistan? The same time, the UNGA addresses being looked at, that the Kashmir issue will be taken up in Pakistan, also test-firing short-range missiles. What's Pakistan up to? We'll try and connect with Javed in just a bit, but that's what we're discussing really over here. In a few hours from now, Nawaz Sharif will be taking up, his speech will be on at the United Nations General Assembly, where he will be, in all likelihood, as confirmed by officials in Pakistan, taking up the Kashmir issue. The first statement coming out from Sartaj Aziz saying that the cancellation of talks, the onus lies squarely on India, Kashmir being taken up at the UN General Assembly, and the short-range missile being tested in Pakistan at the very same time. Clearly, Pakistan turning on the heat on India. Hamza, also, what are the compulsions really on Nawaz Sharif at this point in time to take up the Kashmir issue? Clearly, there are, situation back home is not very stable for him right now.
Well, yes, in fact, the Kashmir issue is something that actually is not only going to be a positive move for Nawaz Sharif's political career, it's also going to be something that will help as far as his relationship with the military establishment is concerned, because back in Pakistan, you've got protests going on in Islamabad for 44 days, calling on Nawaz Sharif to step down.
Okay.
And then also in Azad Jammu Kashmir, there have been protest rallies taken out in 2 consecutive days in Muzaffarabad, where people have actually called on Nawaz Sharif to actually pressure India to ease line of control visa policies, because they want to go and see their loved ones back in Srinagar. So I think this is something that actually goes in favor of Nawaz Sharif's political.
Okay, Hamza, do stay with me. Javed Ansari is on the telephone line right now for a perspective. Javed, how are you looking at these developments? All right, I'm being told Gaurav Sawant is in fact joining us over the telephone line from New York. Gaurav, a lot of concern really after reports coming in of Pakistan, test firing this missile. Also, in a few hours from now, Nawaz Sharif is to take up the Kashmir issue at the UN General Assembly speech that he's going to be making.
India is actually downplaying any interaction or engagement with Pakistan. Let's take this at 2 levels. One, Prime Minister Narendra Modi will not meet Nawaz Sharif when he's in New York. So India says Pakistan is not a part of our scheme of things. 2, Sushma Swaraj, the External Affairs Minister, has had only fleeting interaction with Sartaj Aziz, Pakistan's advisor on foreign affairs and national security, at multilateral engagements. 3, India does not intend to engage with Pakistan at all until Pakistan changes and accepts the new template, which is Pakistan will not interact with Hurriyat as long as Pakistan, wants to deal with government of India. As far as India-US relations are concerned, India now a much, much bigger player than Pakistan, and will not be affected any which way by Pakistan's rants on Jammu and Kashmir that have been on for the past 65 years, is what sources in the government are telling headlines today.
Right. So, Gaurav, right now the space of that we're seeing Sushma Swaraj coming out with a very harsh, rebuttal to Pakistan, saying that it is Pakistan that spoiled the foreign secretary level talks. And very clearly, as you pointed out, there is no direct connection of India and Pakistan as far as the US visit of Narendra Modi is concerned.
Absolutely. This is the meeting of 2 of the world's largest and oldest democracies, when Narendra Modi touches down here in some hours, and then begins his 100-hour interaction with over 50 engagements in New York and Washington DC. And Pakistan does not figure in India's scheme of things at all. Pakistan at best is a very small irritant that India needs to deal with. There is global terror of which Pakistan is a part of, which the world community needs to deal with, and the world community now appreciates that Pakistan is the terror central of the world, where terrorists, whether they are headed towards India or headed towards Central Asia, a lot of them owe their allegiance to elements within the AFPAC region.
Right.
So in all of this is a global war that needs to be fought, and Pakistan has to finally choose, does it want to be a part of the problem or the solution?
Absolutely. Thanks so much, Gaurav Sawant and Hamza Amir, for joining us with inputs on that story. Very close eye on Nawaz Sharif's address at the United Nations General Assembly in a short while from now. We're taking a short